Hello, my loves. Welcome back to the Wild Feminine Way podcast. Today we are going to drop my Palo Santo. Today we're going to be talking about Black Moon Lilith, Inanna, goddess Inanna. I might be saying that wrong, and shadow work. I'm really excited for this topic today. Let me know how you're feeling below because we're still moving through like dark goddess territory right now. With everything that's happening astrologically, there's just so many things happening right now. If you see me looking over here, I'm just looking at my notes so that I don't get too ADD. So grab a water, grab a tea, a coffee, a wine, whatever you want to grab. Let's get comfy, let's get cozy, and let's go. So right now, we're still moving through a lot of shadow work. That's why part of the topic today is about shadow work. So we have like, 2 weeks left of 2025. So we're wrapping up the 9-year, but we're ending a 9-year cycle. So there's so much, I think a vision might be coming through, that's why my eyes are closed. There's so much that is still needing to shed so that we can completely let go of all of that and close that cycle out for good. There's also lots of other significant astrological events that are happening this week that are also creating this big purge right now. I have like blankets right now, I'm so cold. We have the new moon in Sag tomorrow. We have the winter solstice or summer, depending where in the world you are. Shout out to my bestie Emma in Australia. I know it's about to turn summer for her, but wherever you are, there's a solstice. There's a season changing. And there's a lot of other things as well. I'm not an astrologer, so I don't try to go into all of it, but there are so many shifts happening. Capricorn season starts this weekend. So with all these shifts and changes, we have to let go. As I always talk about, we have to let go of all the old so that the new has space to come in. So like I mentioned, the dark goddess energy is still it's still moving through us right now with everything that is happening. You may be feeling tons of different emotions that are coming up. And these astrological cycles, as I always say, they are purposely purging stuff out of you so that you can release it. And you don't have to be afraid to feel it. There's nothing wrong with you. Like, you're exactly where you're meant to be. So we're going to talk a little bit more today about authenticity and some shadow work. And then the Instagram post that I'm going to put up to talk about this podcast episode, I'm going to give you some more rituals. My boobs really hurt right now because I'm PMSing. Give you some more rituals to connect with the dark goddess, things like erotic dance, pleasure, and more. Because since I've been dating this new man, I feel like those areas are areas I've already been working on my own, but so much has been opening up for me. And you don't have to have a partner to work with these energies, but so much has been opening up for me. Like, I feel so different. So I'm excited to put that post up there as well. So right now you may have some really deep shit coming up. I put money, sex, and love because, let me move this blanket because now I'm getting hot. Money, sex, and love, and God are areas that a lot of people, what's the word that I'm looking for? It can just be a lot, essentially. I don't know what the word is that I'm looking for. But I know for me personally, I've had so many limiting beliefs and frustration coming up around these areas of money and sex this past week. Also within the guy that I'm dating, like, nothing that he did wrong, but just things coming up within me to fears and stuff, limiting beliefs, like I said, frustration to release around these certain areas. So if we don't feel it, and if we don't release it, or release things that aren't serving us, whether those are people, places, habits, the universe is going to do it for you. If it's a thing or a person, job, whatever, it's gonna be different for everybody. Or it's going to keep getting mirrored back to you in crazy ways until you do release it. So it's important for us to feel our fears, but not let it overtake us, because we don't want to get stuck in like the victim mentality or fear. Like, overall, feel the fears and then move on, because we're moving into new earth right now. That's what so much of this big purging and releasing is about as well. Like, I got a download about this morning. where my goddesses, not my goddesses, the goddesses I work with and my guides, they were telling me that like I'm already on my new timeline, but like there's still like a couple little things that need to go. So the new earth is not built on fear. So that's why we have to feel it, but not let it consume us. That is the most important part with shadow work and feeling your emotions. And me being a Leo, I've talked about this a lot. I used to just be like toxic positivity all the time. I didn't want to feel things. I was afraid to feel it, or I was afraid if I felt it, then I was going to manifest all the bad things, which is not fucking true. There's somewhere I was going with that and then I lost it. Not really sure what it was, but it's just so important for us. I think this is where I was going with it. Like, we can hold both sides. We can feel the fear and purge and release, but at the same time, simultaneously, however you say that word, we can also believe in the new and believe in the miraculous, because that is what is happening. And I know there's so much going on around the world that may make you not believe in miracles or be caught in fear. But that's why it's so important to tune into places like here, to my podcast, or anything that you listen to, or people you can talk to that uplift you, because we cannot get caught in the fear, but it's important for us to feel it. I do have a couple podcast episodes. I think I might mention this later in the notes as well, but Sacred Rage and Alchemizing Shit into Gold, I mentioned them in last week's episode when we talked about Dark Goddess. I didn't link them below last time, so I'll make sure that I do that this time. So let's move into talking more about authenticity. So last week when we talked about authenticity, we talked a lot about being authentically ourselves, I think we talked about speaking our truth. I can't really remember. I get confused on what I talk about here and what I talk about in other places. So it's also important with the Sagittarius new moon to be authentically you in regards to what you want, what you're fucking manifesting, and what you fucking believe. Because a lot of times we want certain things because society tells us we should do it, or our family, or we think it would look good on paper, or what the fuck ever the reasoning is. So sometimes we get so lost in all of these things that we're not even going authentically after what we want. I feel like I worded that weird, but you get the drift. Sagittarius energy is going to, with this new moon, it's going to deliver the truth to us. My rising sign is Sagittarius. Let me know if you have any Sagittarius placements in your chart. Sagittarius wants you to dream motherfucking big and let go of all the fucking rules and all the bullshit and all the reasons that are saying that you can't get what you want. And this channel message came through this morning as I was preparing for this to share with you. That is, reaching your goals and dreams, it's much easier than you think. You have to let go of it having to be hard. Hard work doesn't necessarily equal success. That's a whole other topic for a whole other day. So there's this like intuitive ritual journaling prompt to coming through to share, to do. So write out what it is that your desires are, and next to each of them, identify where did this come from. That way you can know if it's really yours, if it's a societal thing. That word feels hard to say today. If it's a family thing. I know when I finally got a job. I don't remember if I talked about this yet. After applying for jobs for like a year and a half. And it's like the dream job that I like wanted to fucking manifest. There was like two things. If I was going to have to stay in the town that I am right now, it was the one that I ended up getting. Or if I was moving to Costa Rica or Mexico, which is like, I feel like still in process, it was going to be another one. And it didn't feel like time to move international yet, or to move somewhere else yet. So it makes sense why I manifested this one particular job. But where I was going with that was like my dream job. And it's so funny because I had all this feedback from other people about what kind of jobs I should apply for, what I should do, or I should do this, you should get a corporate job again, blah, blah, blah. Especially from parents. And I love them. And I actually did apply for a lot of those things, but I didn't get any of them. So that's the ritual. That's the example. Identify, are your dreams actually yours? And this card that I pulled this morning for myself is popping up in my third eye to share with you. Reflect on your priorities. So are your actions that you're taking right now lined up with what your priorities are and your desires? Because it's very easy to get distracted in this day and age. That's why I love airplane mode. I've loved it for years. I went back and listened to my Abundant Goddess course earlier this year. I filmed that course in 2019, and I was literally talking about loving airplane mode back then. So yeah, it's so easy to get caught up in distractions. There's so many things going on throughout every day, the entire day, because of the kind of world that we live in with technology and all that. So really reflect on the time that you're spending. And is that moving you forward to where you want to go? That wanted to come through. So Black Moon Lilith, which is one of the main things I said as the topic of this episode. You can do your own research on this. I'm learning more about it myself right now. I've been learning astrology for years, and I just feel like there's so many layers to it. Like, you could study it for 20 years and still not know everything. But Black Moon Lilith has been coming into my life loudly and like just repeatedly. A friend of mine, Jasmine, had pulled a card for me on a call that I did with her from this Black Moon Lilith deck. Now my mom has bought me the Black Moon Lilith Oracle deck for a Christmas present. And yesterday was coming up in a bunch of ways too, I can't remember. But essentially, Black Moon Lilith represents our darker, deeper natures. This is according to Google. That may be repressed or buried. So think about the goddess Lilith. Goddess Lilith was exiled because she was untamable. She didn't want to, I can't remember the exact Bible story. She didn't want to like partner with Adam and like reproduce, essentially. So Black Moon Lilith, I can't remember. Let me look it up real quick. Hang on. Okay, because I was wanting to explain it to you a little bit. It's not a planet. According to Google, Black Moon Lilith is a symbolic mathematical point, the lunar apogee, or moon's farthest point from Earth, and it represents all those things that I was just talking about. So essentially, there's very intense themes of empowerment and shadow work when it comes to working with Black Moon Lilith energy. And Black Moon Lilith right now is still in the sign of Scorpio until the 20th. So this is another part of why all this shadow is coming up, because Scorpio is all about the shadow. So really think about the areas. This goes with the authenticity. That's why I wanted to talk about Black Moon Lilith. Think about the areas where you're not being authentically yourself. Think of the areas where you feel like you're repressing, or bearing your true nature. And think about more on how you can step into your power. Now, if you want to like geek out on astrology like I do, I'm just closing this out so I don't get distracted. You can look up on your birth chart what sign Black Moon Lilith is in your chart. Mine is in Cancer, and it will tell you all about it. It's super cool. So just think about, you don't even have to do really anything else with this energy of Black Moon Lilith, except for just think about, like I said, where are you bearing your authenticity? Where are you repressing your true self? So just some closing steps, tips, whatever you want to call it. When you're working with the shadow energy, I always talk about this, but it's so important to move it through your body. Breathe, shake, do intuitive dancing, cry, feel it so that you can release it. Do erotic dance. That's something I'm going to talk about in my Instagram post today. This is such a beautiful way that you can release what you're wanting to release from your body, but also kind of come into that energy of like being untamed, because sexuality, sensuality, eroticism, all these things have such a shadow label on them in society. So working with that energy within yourself is super powerful. Tap into pleasure. Tap into your life force, sexual, sensual energy. Next little tip is just know that there's not something wrong with you. You're literally releasing and making space right now to become the new you. And it may feel really, really, I've got to take my socks off, scary. I know I started getting really familiar with shadow work when I had like my biggest big dark night of the soul a few years ago. And believe me, I think most of 2022 was terrifying for me, which is another story for another day. But there's not something wrong with you. and it is safe to feel what you need to feel. And if you want to dive deeper into all these processes of the things that I'm talking about, that's what we do in my programs, which I'm going to give you an invitation to in just a minute. And this is where I want to talk about goddess Inanna. I feel like I'm probably not saying her word right, but I love her. She's one of my goddess besties. So goddess Inanna, there's a story about her. You can Google this. She goes through the underworld, and she goes through, I think it's 7 different gates. And these different gates that she goes through in the underworld symbolize different parts of her that she's releasing that aren't authentically her, essentially. Google it so you can figure out the full, or learn the full story if you want to. But this, my loves, is the thing. That when we allow ourselves to go through the depths of hell and back, this is what prepares you for the greatest, deepest prayers that you have, your biggest yearnings, everything that you want to come in to your life is by doing the shadow work, by going in the underworld, by letting go of all the fucking shit that is not really you. And this has been such a big part of my life. And for so many of us, if you're listening to this, chances are you as well, otherwise you wouldn't be here. And like I've said, it's terrifying and it's scary. But it's just making me also think of like Goddess Kali. Like she's like the fierce, loving mother. She comes in and rips all of the shit out of our life that isn't authentic to us so that we can have the big prayers, the big things that we really want. So it can be very scary to do this work alone. That's why I'm so passionate about offering all the different ways to support you that I can. That's what has helped me through all of the stuff that I've been through. I was just Googling a little bit more about the Inanna story to see if there's anything else to share. But she's essentially shedding a item of clothing through each different gate. It's all the things that I've already been saying, but she's essentially, like I said, doing it to let go of her ego. This is what Google says, but I was saying authenticity, like same thing, anything that's not authentically her, to face her shadow self, like we've been saying. And then it's helping her have her death for rebirth, essentially. So I just wanted to read that to you. Some of these stories, it's like I know these stories, but when I explain it, I don't always know all the details. That's why I wanted to just look it up really quick. Was there something else I was going to say? So my same friend Jasmine that I was talking about, this is what I was going to say. She had posted a video on her Instagram the other day talking about Inanna and how many of us have been going through this descent into the underworld, like Inanna's story this year, and that we're kind of like wrapping it up essentially. So while I was peeing, because I had to pause this to go pee and remember that thought, I wanted to just pull you a card real quick from the Divine Feminine Oracle. It felt like a message wanted to come through. So I don't know how to pronounce this goddess's name. We're going to try. Zhao Wahing, the mystic of peace. I am peace. When my mind is clear, the way is clear. So with all these astrological things happening and the earth, like Mother Gaia, she is doing her healing right now too. The energies like might feel intense to you right now. So making sure that your mind is clear also with all these emotional eruptions is going to be really helpful for you right now. And the advice I was getting with that is like journaling, just like dumping everything out of your mind onto a journal page. I have to do this all the time. Did this earlier myself. And then just any kind of thing that makes your nervous system calm. I did yoga earlier. I laid outside on the earth, different things like that. On the bottom of the deck, we have Yamaya. I feel like it's Yamaya, but it's spelled differently. Yamoya. Sounds like the same thing to me. The goddess of all that flows. I am an ocean of creative energy. I give birth to what exists within. I can't talk. What exists within me. And what I felt with this, let me just put it like this instead of holding the whole thing, is that it's important to calm your nervous system and clear your mind so that you can birth through what wants to come through you, essentially. Maybe you're an entrepreneur. I know I have a lot of entrepreneurs that listen to this. Whatever it is that you're trying to manifest, the calm mind and the calm nervous system are key. I was going to say, didn't we just talk about that last time? But no, that was in my magnetic feminine class in my community space that we talked about that last week. So yeah, divine feminine energy, like sacral chakra, the water, work with that. All right, loves. So invitations if you want to dive deeper and want some more support. So I have a whole entire Dark Goddess class, also the Magnetic Feminine class I just mentioned, and tons of other classes that come in my community space. It's been called Goddess Power Portal, but I got the download to rebrand it, so it's now going to be called Divine Feminine Portal. And I will link all of that up for you below. What am I saying in my notes? Okay, yeah, I go through all of the processes and more practical stuff, activations, rituals, all those things of what we've been talking about, and talk all about all of the pillars of working with your dark goddess energy and more. We talk about that in there. And then I also have my one-on-one Rebirth and Rise sessions. If you're interested in working with me one-on-one, I have a couple of spots for that. I would love to help you. Of course, always free episodes on the podcast, the free rebirth and alignment ceremony that I did recently, which is also up on the podcast and YouTube as well. And yeah, I have other freebies and a couple of other self-paced programs as well on my website, but these right now are the two main ways to work with me. So yeah, let me know how you're feeling, how you're doing. Let me know how this episode landed with you, any favorite parts you had, any big takeaways, any synchronicities, anything you want to share. I'd love to hear from you in the comments below. And yeah, I love you so much. I don't know if I'll make a new episode next week because it's the holiday. So if not, I will see you in the new year. And yeah, I was thinking about the January schedule and my portal community. We'll have calls coming up for that. That doesn't really matter. Once you join, you'll find all that information out. Okay, my loves, I love you so much, and I'll see you next time. Bye.